Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bloody Red Table Talk. I am your host, Terrell, and joining me is my co-host, of course, for this show, Broadus.
That is me.
That is Broadus. Listen, y'all, a quick life update. Things have been crazy with both our schedules, so we've honestly just been trying to find time to film. Because we have ideas on what we want to do. It's just the actual timing of us getting together to film at the right time. So luckily we had some time today to film this so we can get things hopefully up and running a lot quicker sooner in the future.
Yeah.
For y'all in terms of these, Bloody Red Table Talk episodes. No icebreaker question today. We're just going to dive right into the discussion of the episode. We're going into episode 2 of The Last of Us. Also, we understand that we are a bit behind in terms of the episodes and how, in terms of the timeline now and the episodes and when they're released. We also want to stay in the timeline of the episodes in terms of this podcast. So
Yeah.
even if you're watching this or listening to this later on, in the year or months later, whatever, you can just follow the episodes like that straightforward through the podcast.
Yep.
For those of you who do not know, I'm gonna do a quick overview of The Last of Us again. Just if you just happen to stumble on this second episode for some reason, but hey, it's just basically a video game that was created in 2013, revolving around two characters, Joel and Ellie, and them just trying to survive this apocalyptic type world. Post-apocalyptic is kind of I don't really know how to explain it in terms of the actual world of it.
Zombies, fungus,
that type of, the zombie settings, the standard.
Yeah.
So this was a really big video game in 2013. It
still is.
Yeah, it still is actually. Smashed a lot of records and really just left an impression on the world. And so they finally created it into a TV show, which so far has been pretty great and wonderful. Also, side note, I have a cat now, and she's
touching shit.
Yeah, she's touching stuff and doing everything. You can move her.
Get the fuck out of here, cat.
Move.
Yo.
But yeah, that's basically a run through of The Last of Us. What did you think of episode 1, like in terms of overall episode 1?
Episodes 1, I think originally we said the pacing at first, but then when I realized and actually played the game back, because I played it again.
Right.
It makes sense for the episodes that was ordered by HBO. The HBO people wanted 9 episodes.
Right.
And as I'm watching it, because I'm caught up all the way through so far, I'm like, okay, there's really no pacing issues later on in the show because now we follow this particular format. And I enjoy it. I enjoyed episode 1. I think so far, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But I think so far, the show has only gone up for me.
Yeah.
So.
I haven't been, I'm not as, up to date as Broadus is on the show. But yeah, episode 1 for me, it was pretty good. We had some issues with the pacing, but again, that's it's kind of tricky to do that in a way because video games are kind of at your own pace type of thing versus a TV series is something that just they have to meet a certain time mark.
Yep.
And so that's nothing we can really change about that. But let's go ahead and dive into episode 2, and you're going to take it away just from the top of episode 2.
All right. Ha-ha.
And I'm going to pull up the names of all the actors and everything so we can get everything correct in terms of that.
So, episode 2 kicks off in the year 2003 when the virus first started. It happens overseas. I forget the country, but I just know that there's this scientist nurse woman who is examining this specimen, if you will.
Is it shoot, keep talking. I'm sorry. I know where it's
The
at. I just
country.
gotta is it
It wasn't Pakistan, was it?
Jakarta. They said it in the first
I know
episode.
exactly.
Jakarta.
Yeah, Jakarta. So let me stop for that get us in trouble and
Yeah.
shit.
It's in
Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesia.
Yeah, in Indonesia. So this is where you get your first hints of where the virus came from. The change, and obviously in the last episode, the change in climate. It was hinted at the change in climate can cause the virus to mutate and then eventually affect humans. So there's this mill worker who was working in a wheat field or rice field? One of them, not rice field, it was wheat. Something to do with wheat and flour products.
Right.
This flour mill, that's what it was.
Right.
he got infected by the cordyceps, and when they were dissecting him, she realized that his composition was now entirely fungus almost. Of course, there was those aspects of human, but the fungus had taken over.
Yeah,
and
which was crazy to look at.
It was like sponge.
Crazy.
It was nasty.
Yeah.
It wasn't like flesh. It was all fungus.
Right.
So this freaks her out because she knows automatically what it is. Cordyceps. Cordyceps is a very real virus. It's just hasn't mutated to where it can infect humans. So now that it is, the military is trying to figure out what they should do. And the reality of the moment sinks in here. For you as a viewer and us as a and in that world. So she said the only solution is to bomb it all before it spreads. But by this point, flour is in everything. Joel and his daughter Sarah, Joel, Sarah, and Tommy in the first episode dodged a bullet because they didn't eat the pancakes and they didn't eat the biscuits that the old lady had. So now the reality sinks in for the viewers as well because she says, I want to spend the few last moments with my family before they drop the bombs. And then fast forward to the present day. Joel and Tess are watching Ellie sleep. She's infected. They found out last episode she's infected, and so they're like, fuck that. There's no way that you're not infected.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they found out she was bitten. Yeah. And so they were trying to determine whether or not if she was really infected or not. And so it was kind of like a in a way like a watch party and the type of thing. Like we're gonna take turns watching her, just observing her to make sure we can figure out any signs of her transitioning into when the fungus take over.
Exactly. And which was really cool to me because that's not something that happened in the game. Yeah. In the game, of course, there was barely moments where you were sleeping. You were running through
all the time.
Oh, you're infected? We're gonna keep an eye on you. Keep running. They took a nap. They slept, and they had this conversation with Ellie. And like they gave Ellie food as well. Joel was hesitant on it, but Tess gave Ellie food, if I'm right. Yeah. So. No, they were eating their rations.
They were Ellie had a sandwich. Yeah, and they were looking at Ellie like, sorry y'all, we trying to get everything, took information. But yeah, they were looking at Ellie like,
this bitch got a sandwich.
She got a whole sandwich and we out here trying to share this little bit of food.
Yeah, they had like a piece of jerky.
And she was smacking on that sandwich too. She wasn't like
she made that sandwich
y'all
good.
She wasn't like y'all want a piece. She was like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna ask y'all. This is my shit.
For real. That sandwich looked good too, yo. Like it looked like an egg, bacon, and cheese sandwich.
I don't know if it's gonna be that bad.
Man, listen.
I don't even think that would be good in terms of traveling.
What?
Like eggs once they get cold.
That's true, but when you're in the apocalypse, you just gotta eat what you get.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's a different setting, but I'm not in the apocalypse, so now in my life, I'm not gonna want that.
Yeah. So they go to. It's like a little portion that mirrors the game. They're in the hotel. They finally hit that hotel part. They're crossing through the water.
Which, by the way, I wanna give them credit. This episode, more than probably the first one to me, like the side by side of the video game versus the episode is like impeccable.
Yeah.
It's like everything looks the same. It's crazy. Like everywhere they are in the game versus where they are in the TV show.
Yeah.
It
is crazy. Yeah. It's like it's the attention to detail. Of course, they do things differently, but it's like those parts that they do, like
those
pull
parts
from the game.
Yeah.
Like, damn, what they just put them in the game and turned up the resolution or something. Like it looks great. So they're walking through the hotel. Beautiful set. That's something that we just talked about.
Yeah, we were talking about that as we rewatched the episode before.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, like the sets were magnificent. So from the hotel, there's this little section where Tess goes ahead to try and clear a path, which is very, very, very similar to the game, where you can send Ellie up to go grab something for you, while you're downstairs, like just waiting for her to push the thing over. It's very similar. And there we get this conversation between Joel and Ellie, where it's like small talk. It's very small talk. She asks, "What about her and Tess?" Him and Tess, and he's like, "Don't ask questions. She's, you asking the wrong questions." Ellie asks Joel, "How many did you kill? How many have you ever killed one of the runners?"
Which is really interesting, I would say, because like during the time we were rewatching it, I was kind of just trying to skim through it because I watched the episode. It just been a few weeks. I was trying to skim through it.
We watched it together.
Yeah, we watched it. So we were trying to skim through it and really just remember exactly what key moments to hit in this for the podcast. And that was a particular moment that you wanted me to pause on. So I'm curious why, in particular, that was a moment that stood out to you.
Because it's more so like she's asking, "Have you ever killed one of them?" When we just watch Joel beat the shit out this guy,
Right.
and killed him. He killed him. And I guess it's different with Infected, but what stood out for me was the difference between the game and the show. When Ellie asked questions, it was short answer, no, yes, in the game. But here it seemed like they were building that bond very early on.
Yeah.
Like he still wanted nothing to do with her, but he wasn't cold to her, and that's something that they do with this iteration of Joel. He's not cold.
He's not as cold as he was in the game.
Yeah.
He's a lot more receptive.
Yeah.
Into hearing what she has to say. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and like it even in the earlier episode, like while they were like earlier in the episode while they were watching her, like it didn't seem like he genuinely had a dislike for the idea of traveling with her. It just was like, fuck, this throws a wrench in my plans, but I'll do it. So that's why I was like, we just gotta pause here and listen.
I mean, even now thinking back in terms of the video game, when Joel is seeing Ellie too, in a sense, and I don't even think if he's really aware of this in the moment, but it's reminding him of his child.
Yeah.
And with the good memories are coming the bad memories, and the bad memories are outweighing the good during this time. And so to him, he's like, in a way, he's like, I gotta keep my distance because I don't want to get attached, and then something else like that happens again.
It's ripped open.
Yeah, so for him, it's kind of, especially in the game, it's kind of a mind fuck, if you would say, to him, because he's like, he's trying to struggle with the idea, and really that's why he's so closed off too in the beginning of the game towards her.
To me, I think video game Joel took Sarah's death a lot harder. To me.
Yeah, because it's honestly because it's two different portrayals of the character. Though it's the same character, but it's just two different portrayals. So
well, I mean, because in the game he wasn't cracked out. He wasn't on drugs and shit. So I don't know. I guess it's all in how you look at it.
Yeah.
But Joel became cold, like ice cold. But that's not taking anything away from Pedro Pascal, because that's my man's. So from here we get the bridge scene where they're talking about Ellie's past a little bit. Tess and Ellie are talking about Ellie's past, and Ellie drops a hint that she doesn't like men, that she likes women.
Right.
There's a slight hint there. Spoiler alert for those of you who don't know, Ellie is lesbian.
Yes.
Which then gets to the probably one of the biggest changes they've made in the TV show. We get to this part where we see a bunch of bodies laying on the ground, but it's not. They're all alive. They're all infected, but they're resting because nothing has startled them.
Right.
So this is when we get the bombshell that's dropped. The infected work like a hive mind. So if you're 10 miles away and that infected is connected to that little patch of fungus, every infected that is attached to that piece of fungus
will
come to you and eat you.
Which is kind of I don't know. Okay, so I know that's a big change in terms of the actual video game versus the series.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on that? For me, I'm kind of mixed on that, only because I would say I do like the idea of being something new. And I do like the idea of almost the hive mentality of being like the fungus is now so in control that it even has control to the point beyond zombified version, if that makes sense. Like, it still even can, like, they're like full out zombies now, and it still even can control them to, oh, I gotta go here now, if that makes sense. But also, I'm like, I'm not. Also, I'm on the opposite end, like, I don't know if it really works that well, only because it's like, I like the authenticity. I like the authenticity. Thank
you,
you.
brother.
Of, you know, being in the room and accidentally stepping on something, and just the one zombie in the room or the one click in the room hearing that, responding, versus you stepping on one piece of like fungi or something like that, and then next you know, a horde of 500 zombies are running at you. If that makes sense, I like the more natural.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat with you. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Right.
I'm in the middle. I like the change as far as like, okay, like we can't copy everything from the game. I like that aspect of things.
Yeah, because it would be boring if we know.
Yeah, like we gonna know, like we know everything that's gonna happen, but there's monkey wrenches where it's like, oh shit, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
What I can say about that is, I like that feeling of we're never safe. Cause and I think probably one reason why they did this is because in theory gunshots carry too, so it would draw infected anyway. Right. Maybe that's why they did it, and they was like, it don't make sense for me to be shooting off all these rounds and then no zombies come. Maybe that's why they did it.
But then
that would still be
no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because even if that was the case, we could get a scene where they're like shooting the zombie or whatever, and then we see like her, versus like it seems like, I don't know, and I guess when you said like you're never safe, that makes more sense to me. Yeah. In terms of like you're always in a constant threat versus you just happen to step on one thing, and I heard of like it's crazy, like I don't know, that's kind of like wild.
I'm not gonna lie to you, a later scene in a later episode makes you like, okay, this is what can happen.
Yeah, because I'm not caught up yet, so he caught up, so I can't really say too much. But let's move on from this though. But,
So once we hear that they're connected, they stumble upon this museum, the History Museum, American History Museum. I think it's American History one. We get this one part. This is basically explaining how all of the fungi in that building is dead, so it's not connected to any other infected outside. So they enter, and they realize that there's a lot of dead people on the inside as well. And there's this moment where Joel's like, okay, from here on out, we're silent. Not quiet, but silent. Right. And for those of you who played the game, you know what's about to happen. So they go inside, and who stepped on something? Ellie stepped on something, and something fell over as well. And that's when you get the famous clicker clicking sound. And this is where it all picks up. Because one, Ellie mentions, have you ever heard about the ones that make clicking noises, use echolocation or some shit like that earlier in the episode? So now there's a clicker. So they keep their heads on a swivel for this one clicker. But then from the other room they hear another clicker. So now there's two clickers. And they're doing a pretty good job with keeping silent. Yeah, but I mean, clickers by far are the most terrifying ones in the game. And bloaters are pretty
to me. Yeah. I mean, bloaters, but like eventually they just boom. Yeah. Clickers is like
oh damn. And clickers are strong as hell.
Yeah, and you have to be it's all about sound, and it's kind of it's harder to. I think it's easier, honestly, to
just shoot the bloater than just dealing with the clicker.
I feel like it's easier to like just go on with a full bloater than trying to honestly hide from a clicker, because they hear every single, like you have to be so silent, and like you have to emphasize that silent. Like you have to be like, we saw in the episode, Ellie just like breathed a little too hard, and that's when it hurt her.
And they turned around like, yep, you're mine. Because Ellie's never seen a clicker. She's seen an infected, but she's never seen a clicker. So when she's like, clicker turned.
It's just one breath that was a little too hard, and it was like, got you.
It was on everybody.
And so that's the terrifying part for me in terms of clickers.
Yeah. And clickers are just, in the game, they one-shot you. You get caught, you're dead. You're done. Yeah. There's no breaking out of
back,
it.
Yeah. Also, side note,
Mhm.
a standing ovation for the fucking special effects makeup team.
Yes.
This is and the work on these fucking clicker mask faces, whatever we want to call them, and
the attention to detail is
impeccable.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's very. We were talking about this too, especially even like the details on the set. And a lot of times you see in a lot of sci-fi thriller type of environments, in terms of TV shows or movies, a lot of it is CGI.
Yeah, digital, very
A
digital.
lot of it is CGI. So the fact that all of this is actual, like, real, and it shows like the amount of work that they have put into this, it makes you appreciate it even more. Because they could have easily been like, all right, let's just go on the computer.
CGI this shit.
Let's put a little green bodysuit over this person.
That'll be all clicker.
Yeah, and
Yeah. They could have easily went that route.
But it's impeccable. They wanted to keep it real for the audience as well.
And credit to the actors too that wear it, because they sat in that makeup chair probably for
a long time.
Yeah,
I couldn't even
4
imagine.
hours on end.
Probably not. Probably longer than that.
Probably.
It depends.
I saw somewhere where they said this isn't really a spoiler
Mm-hmm.
because it was in the trailer. The person who wore the blow suit was in there for 8 hours.
Damn.
In the makeup chair for 8 hours, and the clickers were like 2 to 3.
Just
hours.
imagine that. So, like, say for instance, y'all are starting to shoot at 10 a.m., which means you probably have to get there at 1 a.m. And then be done by 9 a.m. and still in the suit probably for the rest of your scenes. And then just to get back out of the suit, it's probably going to be another 6 to 8 hours because they have to preserve the things for
just
when you
in
are.
case they want to do
just when you were in the next
reshoots.
scene. So it's fucking crazy.
It wouldn't be me.
And then even when you
that's what I
shoot
do.
things, you don't get everything all in one day. So you're going to be in the suit
And
or
then-
whatever, the makeup for a pretty good time.
And then God forbid they like, yeah, actually we want you in season 2, and you're in double the episodes now. Now you gotta be in everything. So,
I give it to the actors as well who are like
phenomenal
behind
job.
that. There's a lot of stunt actors as well.
Yeah.
Who the stunt performers are impeccable.
Especially in the first episode, when that motherfucker was running hard. He was running like, he had bills to pay that day. But so we get the whole clicker fight. A clicker chases Tess off. We don't see Tess for a solid like 4 minutes.
Yeah. Which I have a small theory about that, but go ahead.
Okay, I got you. So Joel gets attacked by the clicker again because he stepped on some glass. He managed to lose the clicker, but he stepped on some glass. The clicker hurt him, which is probably one of the funniest scenes because you hear him step on it. He looks down like, oh fuck, and all you hear is running, and then a jump over the counter, and they're fighting. Then
Joe was getting his ass whooped at first.
he was.
Joe was
getting fucked up. Yeah, he was getting fucked up.
Get his ass whooped.
And they killed the first clicker. The second clicker comes in, and then Tess comes from out of nowhere. Kills the other one. Well, slashes at his head, has a hatchet in his head. Then Joel finishes it off.
Yeah.
Ellie is bitten again, but Tess is injured. Right, her ankle hurts. She twisted her ankle. But you can tell, how you can tell in people's demeanor that it's much worse.
Yeah, she twisted her ankle. For now, she twisted her ankle.
Yeah, for now, she twisted her ankle. Right. So they're crossing to the next roof. They're walking, they're talking. Then it's revealed that Tess is bitten. Tess is bitten. Joel's upset. Ellie's really upset. Because I guess Tess definitely took to Ellie very quickly. In fact, on that scene where they're looking at the bodies of the zombies, I was about to say walkers. Walking Dead fan. It's expressed how much Tess cares for Ellie.
Yeah.
She gives her some advice like, listen, you may be immune, but don't let that get to your head because it still doesn't feel good to be ripped apart, which is a very good advice because a lot of people think because I'm immune, I have nothing to worry about. No, you can get bit a lot, but if it's a lot of them, you will be ripped to shreds, and you need your organs to survive. So,
Right.
I like that little attention to detail. It's revealed that she's bit, and then they have that whole video game scene where Joel's like, no, this can't be happening, and Tess is like, no, this is the truth. You need to carry through with the mission. Get Ellie to Bill and Frank, and they'll carry out the mission if you can't do it. This is very real. She's very immune because I got bit less than an hour ago, and I'm already twitching and about to die, essentially. So this runner pops up from out of the the Capitol building, whatever they're in, the state building. Mm-hmm. It pops up and they shoot it, but the cordyceps is very active there. So now those zombies that we saw earlier, that were sleeping, they're on their way because it sent a signal to those
other zombies.
Those other zombies, and now they're running there. They realize this, so Tess sets a trap. She throws out all the grenades. She pours gasoline all over. She's getting ready to light it. She doesn't tell Joel she loves him, but Joel and Ellie run off. Ellie's like, we're not leaving her, crying. They get out of there. All the zombies pour in. Tess is sitting there in the corner. At first, I'm sitting there like, oh, they're running past her because she's already infected, right? This is probably the most controversial and weirdest moment I've ever seen in a fucking TV show. This one runner walks over as the mandrill's coming out of his mouth, and it fucking kisses Tess.
And what was even more strange was that she allowed it. Like there were several times for her to be like,
oh, let me hurry up.
I'm gonna fight this zombie, because he literally just walked up. It wasn't like
he was like,
no, stop. It was like a look, going for it. It was strange. It was like,
what would have made that moment make sense? Because you know how they were saying they're not completely dead. Mm-hmm. The infected aren't completely dead. Yeah. They still need food. They still need all this stuff. But what would have made sense, and your brain is still there to some capacity, is fighting against the fungus. If you play the game, you can hear some of the runners talking. Mm-hmm. Like, ouch, make it stop. Like, you can hear some of that. So, what would have made sense is if this zombie knew Tess and they were romantically involved and they hinted at it, then it would have made sense for him to come up to her and kiss her. But he's infected, That would have made the most sense to me.
I don't even think, for me, the kiss wasn't even the issue, like, with who it was or anything. It was the fact that she just stood there, but now I'm thinking about it, and I guess at that point, Tess kind of already accepted her fate. She was like,
I guess.
It is. She was like, it is what it is. I mean, she knew that a herd of zombies were coming. This one zombie is now in her face, approaching her. Joel and Ellie are now running, trying to run for their lives, and she is bitten. So at that point, I feel like she was like, I don't have any other choice. This is literally my fate. This is how I gotta. So I feel like instead of, and maybe in her mind, that was better to,
but when you
do that, die that way, than like get eaten by a herd of zombies. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, because then she wouldn't have had the chance to light the lighter.
Yeah,
that is possible, but she was still struggling to light that fucking lighter. And you would think, since it was going through her mouth, that it would be infected quicker. Mm-hmm. You would think. So, the explosion, she does manage to light the gasoline on the floor, which explodes the grenades due to the heat. All the zombies get blown the hell up. Ellie and Joel carry on with their journey, and we come to the end of the episode.
That's an episode 2. Side note, before we get into a little bit of discussion of this episode, we will be trying to have episode 3 up very soon for y'all, and then episode 4 following. The season is about to be over soon though, so that'll give us enough time in between seasons to catch up if we do find ourselves falling behind in terms of podcast episodes. All right, I want to say 2 things that really stood out to me in this episode. Was one, I just forgot it. 2 things that really stood out to me was, how did I forget just that quick? Isn't that crazy?
Because of the damn.
So, I forgot what I was saying. Can you just say something about like what you thought first? Because I forgot. It gotta come back to me.
Okay. So,
I forget.
The 2 things that stood out for me is, of course, Bella Ramsey. Mm-hmm. She is killing it. Bella Ramsey, Pedro Pascal, every actor that they have on the show has actually been killing it. And the clickers. I was excited to see the clickers when we first saw it the last time we filmed it, and there was a clicker in the distance that you could see on the roof. So seeing the clickers up close in that foreshadowing, the makeup was astonishing. So those are my two standout moments.
I remember one. The one thing I had to say was Ellie, because we made a comment about this when we were rewatching, and Ellie got bit.
Oh,
again.
right.
And I was trying to figure out why is Ellie, I understand the point of, trying to add new things, but I couldn't figure out why is Ellie getting bit again? Like, what, this is not making sense. But now I'm thinking about it, and it actually makes perfect sense. Because it shows Joel. Ellie getting bit is not for the audience. It is for Joel. And it is showing Joel, like you said, that she actually is immune, because we see them getting bit
at the same
towards
time.
the same time, essentially minutes apart. And we're seeing two totally different reactions to the virus and to the fungus.
Yep.
So in a way, that was a way for Joel to be able to move forward with Ellie. Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, if Tess and Ellie didn't get bit, if it was just Tess that got bit and Ellie didn't get bit, I feel like Joel wouldn't be like, all right,
yeah,
I'm out. I'm sorry. Like, I wish you the best, but I'm out. I feel like this ain't nothing. I don't really believe in this fully, and so that was a way for him to believe in it. As well as I had another side note about the episode, which was fuck, did I forget it again? Yo, my memory is terrible. I literally just had it in my head and I forgot it. Oh, relating to the bite, when Tess ran away and she was like fighting the clicker, and we were watching the episode, I was like, what took Tess so long from killing the last clicker to coming up with them? Because it was, I guess she could have been fighting the clicker, but it was still a good amount of time they were running from the clicker and trying to fight it with them two before Tess came and then hit it. And I was like,
what took so long?
One, it could be because she was fighting the other clicker herself and then she realized, like, okay, what's going on? Two, what I think it could be was she probably got the other clicker. She probably killed the other clicker quickly, a lot quicker than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
But then she realized she got bit. And in her mind, I think while she was away, she was trying to decide, am I going to say something? And so once she saw them, in her heart, she was like, I know I should say something. But in her mind, she was like, that would not be smart. So I feel like she could have been battling with that. So as soon as she saw them, she just went to her first like instinct was just don't say nothing.
Yeah, oh yeah, twisted my ankle.
Yeah, just play it off until she got, until they found out. Yeah. And so that was just very interesting to me in terms of trying to get and that wasn't even something that was really shown, like her being bit on camera, nothing like that.
Yeah.
That was just something that I was like trying to get into in terms of the mind of a viewer and figuring out how that transition went. Because I feel like she was like, should I tell them or not? And she was like, fuck it, I'm not saying nothing. So that was interesting.
Fuck out of here, cat.
Broadus be, see, my cat ain't do nothing to him. He just be, and she loves him though. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
the cat loves him.
But,
you got anything else to say about this episode though? A great episode.
It was a great episode.
Yeah.
Pacing wise was great. Character building, world building is great. I'm a sucker for world building, so if you build a world and lore, I'm there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this episode a lot more than the first one, but I'm kind of biased because clickers are like the idea of clickers are just scary to me, so
right.
I'm kind of biased. Yeah, I give this a 5 out of 5.
Oh, we don't rate it. I'm gonna give this a 4.
A 4?
Maybe like a 3.9.
3.9.
For me, I don't know. It was just some stuff that was, I don't know. For me, some stuff was not making sense in terms of like the whole hive thing. Some of the things I was like, that kind of makes me like, But overall, it was still great. I do agree with you. It was better than the first one. I think so also as well because it wasn't as long. I feel like the first one was a great first episode, but at times it felt
a little long.
too long, and I was like kind of tuning in and out. But That's
the thing I
understandable.
didn't like about the first one was too many inconsistencies when I watched it back.
Mm-hmm.
Not inconsistencies, but like how it wasn't hinted that the motherfuckers was going after Marlene and them, and when they got there, it was just death.
Right.
So I didn't like that so much, but other than that, I think they're on a roll. So that gives them an average of what for the episodes of 4.
I don't know, but yeah, maybe like a 4. I don't know. I'm not doing averages.
Oh, okay.
Y'all can do it yourself.
We can do a season average when we finish.
Yeah, maybe we can do that.
Because then it's like, what did you think of the season? And then it's like, all right.
But overall, I think in terms of adaptations and video game adaptations
this
to
is the best
series or movies, it's probably one of the best. Probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the best because
What do you think is the best? It's either this or Sonic, hands down.
I don't know. I would have to look at a list of everything and see.
Because if anybody says Resident Evil, we gotta throw hands.
Yeah, no, but I think it's one of the best of recent years.
Okay.
But there's been so many adaptations, of things, so it's kind of hard. I would have to just give the series more time to see. But yeah, it's pretty solid overall.
Solid. You hear that, HBO? Get us in season 2.
Yeah, we there.
I don't want to die though. I could just literally be like, let me be. That's a spoiler. Never mind. All right, guys.
Spoiler for me. All right, y'all. But that is the end of Bloody Red Table Talk. We thank you all for joining us for today's episode discussing The Last of Us episode 2. I don't know. I want to keep saying The Walking Dead in my mind.
Put that down.
Is this she alright? I don't want to keep saying Walking Dead. Also, we gotta have a full discussion about this one day in the podcast and like discussing like a versus battle or like just a comparison with main characters in these zombie based video games. Because we were talking about Ellie versus Clementine and the drastic difference.
So I'll say
crazy.
this. I'll say this. As far as video game Ellie goes compared to this one, Ellie in the video game and Clementine are very similar. Clementine to me is more well rounded. But Last of Us 2, Ellie versus Clementine, there's no competition. That little motherfucker was bloodlusted. But TV show Ellie versus Clementine, season 2, Clementine, nah. No.
Really?
I can say that confidently.
I still think Clementine. I think I don't know, she just had like we can talk about this in another episode, but she just has like an edge to her. Just
we can do that next episode.
Yeah. All right, y'all, but we're gonna try to be consistent with this. Stay on the lookout as well. We're gonna be trying to start uploading some pit episodes very soon with some guests on that very soon. Not making no promises though, but
I ain't promising. Just know that it's coming soon.
It's gonna come soon. All right, but we are out.
Love y'all though.
Bye.
Peace. Leave it alone, cat.